Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to show you how to install some frame sliders on a 2016 Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R. So what are frame sliders exactly? So frame sliders are these little guys that's sticking out of my fairing right here. They bolt to the engine bolts or the engine to provide some protection at low speeds or even just little minor drops. So you can see in this part right here, I actually dropped my bike at a gas station while I was pumping gas. I just got my bike, first tank, and actually lost balance when I was getting on my bike, and I fell over on the right side and just ended up scratching some of the fairings, the exhaust, and also the bar sliders. So I decided to get some frame sliders to protect my fairings in cases that if I ever lose my balance or just drop it at low speed, since it tends to happen with new riders. But here we go. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Shogun frame sliders. So the packaging is not the best quality. I mean, just a simple packaging, plastic and some, paper. Just actually looks pretty bad, but who cares about the packaging? These are the frame sliders. You can see Kawasaki ZX6R. This is the new style, the no cut. The part number is going to be 750-4449 no cut, and this is for the 2013 to the 2016 model. These are the black Dilren frame sliders, not the fancy white ones or the fancy carbon fiber ones. But let's go ahead, open it, and show you guys what is included with this frame slider kit. So going on here, you can see it's very easy to open, so it's not the best quality, but we got two bolts to bolt it down. These appear to be the same length, but if you pay attention, there's actually two different frame sliders and two different spacers or adapters right here. There's the short ones, there's the longer ones. You want to make sure you read through the manual to know exactly what side they go on, but in this video I'm going to go ahead and show you guys where to mount each one. Pretty much the shorter one goes on the right side of the motorcycle, the longer one goes on the left side of the motorcycle, and I'll show you why in a little bit. Some tools to make the job a lot easier. So when I first started, I was like, I didn't have the correct size socket set because I had one of these when I was working on my car back in the days, and I just keep this set in my car, and I was like, hey, it actually works. But it turns out the only size bit that I have close enough to the engine bolts is going to be for these little guys right here is a 15mm. So the problem with a 15mm is not the right size. You need a 14mm socket set. So if you have one of these little long reach socket set, which makes it a little bit easier when you're installing it so that way you don't scratch your fairing. But you can see what happens when you use the wrong size bit. You end up just damaging the bolts. So do not use the wrong size. Also, what I have here, I so happen to have one of these laying around too when I was working on some RC stuff. But I do have a 14. But if you look at this 14, this is like one of those little universal sets, and they're not the standard socket hex size. These actually do work, but if you actually over torque them or try to torque them down, what they end up doing is just making the bolt even worse. So if you guys have time, do not rush the job, just go buy the correct 14mm socket set. So when you're installing the Shogun frame sliders, you would need a set of Allen keys. So I went to AutoZone, just bought a set of these because they came in different sizes. These are all metric. You can see 3mm, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and up to 10. The one that you would need is going to be a 8mm Allen key. You can go buy those Allen key sets from Home Depot if you want. They're really cheap. Or you can go buy those fancy T-handles, or you can just go buy these socket adapter Allen heads right here. So you would need a 8mm. Do not use a smaller one because you will strip out the bolt and you can damage it, and your new frame slider bolt can be stuck or stripped, and that wouldn't be too good. So make sure you get the right one. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at the bike and show you how to exactly install the frame sliders. Alright, so before we install, let's go ahead and locate which side is the left side and which side is the right side. And I'm pretty sure you guys already know this, but pretty much if you're sitting on the bike, we all know the left side is left, right is right. But if you're looking from the front, you can actually get confused and work on the wrong side. So we're going to go on the side that's not on the exhaust. So the exhaust is on the right side. We're going to go into the left side where the gear shifter is. So the part that we want to remove here is going to be a simple bolt right there. It's going to be that bolt right there. That's the engine bolt. So let's go ahead, remove it, and show you guys how to install the frame slider. Alright guys, after trying to remove this engine bolt with a 15mm socket, is actually the wrong size, so do not use a 15mm socket. I know a lot of socket set skips number 14. So luckily in my car I have a 14mm socket set, which looks to be a good fit. So now I just got to be careful and not scratch my fairing, since this is a shorter socket. You can see I used to have these when I worked on my car back then, but now the shorter ones are much shorter. Let's go ahead, put it in here. Let's find a position where I know I'm not going to damage my fairing, like so. Let's give it a good twerk. You can see, there it goes. It's getting loose. So now that I have that done, I'm going to go back to my number 15, since it's a longer reach and it's already loose. So I'm going to go ahead. And also too, when you're doing this, make sure you do one side at a time. Refer to the manual for the Shogun sliders, because if you do both sides, your engine can actually fall off and cause some damages. I also heard if you have a jack, you can also put your jack underneath the engine and kind of lift it up just very slightly, and that will help alleviate some of the stress on the bolt itself. So also too, it helps to do this when your engine is not hot, since these bolts can get really hot. So make sure your bike is cool, so that way you don't burn your fingers as you're working on it. So now you want to locate the longer slider with the longer adapter. So just compare the two, show you guys the difference. We have a long one and we have a short one. You want to make sure you grab the longer one and also grab the longer adapter of the two. So when you're installing these, you want to make sure that the flange part is facing towards the slider portion, and then the smaller part right here goes towards the engine. Grab one of your bolts. If you're not too sure, just line them up. They should be the same size. So now we're going to put it through here, put it through here, and then we're going to tighten these bad boys down. So looking at here is very clean. Looking from the top down, you can see if I'm going to be doing a low speed drop, my fairings right here is all going to be protected, which is what I plan on doing. Now if I do crash at a high speed, then you know, I don't expect these sliders to do much protection. And there's a big argument, some guys saying that sliders are not needed and sliders can help. So meaning to me, I already dropped it, so you guys can see here just a closer look at where I dropped my bike. This little scratch here kind of sucks how I dropped it. Let me change the exposure a little bit for you guys. Here we go. You can see I already scratched my brand new 2016 ZX6R. Put a little scratch here. The bar ends, scratch that, and the heat shield for the exhaust right here. This I'm not too worried about, since when I do install the aftermarket, you know, slip-on exhaust, this is all going to be gone. But this right here hurted me the most, even though it's just a minor cosmetic, brand new bike. We don't have a license plate on this guy yet, but you can see, yeah, I already dropped it. So my first investment is frame sliders, in case I do drop it again, I don't damage my new fairings. Also too, forgot to mention earlier, if you look at this packaging, it says free replacement slider puck. Go to www.shogunmotorsportspromo.com for details. So I'm curious what these are. Maybe it's like when you crash your bike, you show them your damaged sliders and they give you a new replacement puck. I don't know, but that'd be pretty cool if you do. But there we go. You know, hope you guys find this video useful. If not, let me know. I try to be as detailed as possible. I know doing a direct kind of how to install is going to be kind of long and boring, so I just went straight to the good stuff and just show you guys how they look. Actually looks very clean, you know, from all angles. They stick out a little bit. There's a lot of other different frame sliders available out there in the market. There's that more streamlined kind of curvy look, and there's just the standard you know, frame sliders from Shogun. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.